What would you do if the only witness was a dog, and even he refused to look at you? I remember the night so clearly, though everyone tells me memories bend under grief. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you hear your own heartbeat. Then, out of the darkness, Bishop came tearing into the yard. His chest heaved, his paws scraped the concrete, and his leash dragged behind him like something broken. But Evelyn wasn't with him. The leash was torn, frayed at the edges. Not the way nylon breaks, but as if someone had taken a blade to it. Bishop whined, circling the porch, refusing to cross the threshold. His fur smelled like damp leaves and river water. My stomach dropped, because Evelyn always walked the same path, always waved when she passed the corner lamp. And tonight, she didn't. I shouted her name once, twice, but the air swallowed it whole. There was no echo, no answer, just the sound of Bishop's nails scratching the door. I told myself she might have dropped the leash. Maybe she let him run free, but Bishop never left her side. He came back alone, and the silence that followed was louder than any scream. That was the moment I knew something was wrong. Not because she was gone, but because the dog's eyes told me he'd seen something he couldn't unsee. Did anyone really see her leave? Or are we just telling ourselves what we want to hear? Ivy's hands were trembling as she pulled the phone from her pocket. I had never noticed how small her eyes seemed when panic set in. She replayed the security footage from the neighbor's camera, but every frame felt wrong. Evelyn's jacket looked red in one clip, then deep blue in the next. Her stride shifted, sometimes brisk, sometimes hesitant, and the street signs seemed to tilt, like the world itself couldn't decide what had happened. Ivy's voice shook as she whispered, "I thought she was just a block ahead, but I don't know anymore." She kept glancing toward the tree line, where the wind made shadows move like restless hands. Her guilt bled into every word, the kind of guilt that claws at your chest until you can't breathe. Bishop whined from the corner, dragging the torn leash along the floor. Ivy tried to reach for him, but he recoiled, tail tucked, ears flattened. Every hair on his neck was rigid and Ivy froze. She had always thought the dog exaggerated, but now, seeing his raw panic, she realized she had been wrong. There was something in the air that neither human nor animal could name. She remembered Evelyn laughing that afternoon, talking about the quiet footsteps behind me. A joke that suddenly didn't feel like one. And the journal, the one hidden in the bottom drawer, full of half-scribbled warnings and questions no one had read. Ivy's fingers shook as she opened it. Some of the entries were written in a hurried, jagged scrawl, almost as if Evelyn had known she wouldn't have time to explain. Then, a faint click echoed from the back porch. Ivy froze, heart thudding. She was certain no one else was home, but the sound repeated, soft, deliberate. Bishop's growl cut through the air, low and warning, and Ivy realized. The street was quiet, but not empty. Someone, or something, had been watching. The air felt thicker, colder, as though the night itself held its breath. And in that moment, Ivy understood the worst truth. The leash had returned alone for a reason, and the story she thought she knew was already unraveling in ways she could not yet comprehend. Why did Bishop stop at the edge of the trail and refuse to move? Detective Ives knelt beside him, notebook forgotten. Bishop's paws were raw, his fur matted with dirt and leaves. Every low whine, every shiver, felt like a warning no one wanted to hear. The dog's eyes darted to the shadowed trees, ears pinned back, and then fixed on Jonah, who stood too close to the leash, fingers twitching nervously. Bishop growled, guttural and uneven, as if sensing more than the eye could see. Ives noticed the subtle signs. His lip curled when he passed the empty yard, a subtle shiver at the faint smell of smoke lingering in the air. Bishop had witnessed something Evelyn never wanted revealed, and every instinct screamed the danger was near. The leash, now dragging against the gravel, told its own story, not of a dog running free, but of someone forcing the bond apart. And as Ives followed Bishop's gaze, the detective realized the silence wasn't empty. It was a trap waiting to snap. Why did his boots have mud that didn't match the worksite? Jonah's hands shook as he tried to explain. He said he'd been late at the construction site, but the dark streaks on his sleeves, the grass stains under his nails, told another story. I noticed how his jaw tensed, how he avoided my gaze when I mentioned Evelyn's journal. Each answer he gave seemed rehearsed, yet the fear in his eyes was real, a trembling mix of guilt and something darker. Bishop growled low in the background, stepping between us, sniffing the air as if reading the truth in Jonah's hesitation. And then came the sound, a distant snapping twig, and Jonah flinched, not at the noise, but at what he knew I'd find if I followed it. His story was cracking, and with every falter, the sense of dread wrapped tighter around us. What did I hear that night? And why did I stay silent? Marla's voice trembled as she spoke, eyes darting toward the shadows outside her window. She claimed it was just the wind at first, a faint scream lost in the hum of late-night traffic. But the recording on her phone told a different story. Muffled cries, hurried footsteps, and a whisper of Evelyn's name. Her hands shook as she refused to play it aloud, yet every glance at me betrayed the memory she buried. The air in the room grew heavier with each heartbeat. Bishop growled softly, sensing the truth she couldn't admit. And then, almost imperceptible, a door creaked somewhere down the street. Marla's lips parted, but no words came. Only the understanding that some secrets refused to stay buried. Why would she write secrets no one was supposed to see? And to whom? Detective Ives flipped through Evelyn's journal, each page heavier than the last. Coded entries, numbers mixed with words, sketches of streets only she knew, and then a name she circled obsessively. Someone close, too close. The torn leash wasn't accidental. Every cut, every frayed edge, told a story Evelyn had tried to leave behind. My pulse raced as I traced her handwriting, realizing the warning wasn't meant for me. It was meant for anyone who claimed to love her. Bishop whimpered beside the desk, nose pressed against the journal. His eyes weren't just sad, they were furious, remembering what we couldn't. And in that moment, the room felt smaller, the air tighter, and the knowledge settled. Evelyn's silence was never empty. Would you trust the ones who say they love you, if they were the ones who didn't let you return? Evelyn's body was found where the creek bent, hidden beneath the brush she loved. Bishop wouldn't step closer, growling low, eyes locked on Jonah. His loyalty, broken and raw, screamed truths no one dared speak. Ivy clutched the voicemail Evelyn left her sister, trembling. If anything happens, don't trust the ones who say they love me most. Every word hung in the air, heavier than the soil over her grave. Detective Ives looked away, the realization etched in his face. Evelyn's warnings had been deliberate, her journal, her leash, her final acts of defiance. Those who ignored her now lived with the guilt she had tried to shield them from. The street stayed quiet that night. Bishop lay beside the grave, eyes never leaving the shadows where betrayal had walked. And somewhere in the stillness I understood, some secrets refused to stay buried. Subscribe to the Veil of Secret to uncover the truths that others try to hide.